What's up, guys? It's Hana and Mev. Welcome to our channel, The Splash Sisters. Today we're going to be talking about the most underrated player on every playoff team in the NBA, playoff/play-in team. And it was really hard making this list because some teams have like multiple under-the-radar players that provide a lot of impact. But we did single it down to one for each team. And let's start off with the East playoff teams. We're going to start with the Celtics. The Celtics are the best team in the league record-wise. And obviously, their starting five, people argue, is the best starting five in the league. But I'm going to say the player that comes off the bench for them that I think is probably their best shooter, Sam Hauser. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I am.
Yeah, he averages like a solid 21 minutes off the bench, and he's very productive in those 21 minutes.
Yeah, and he has honestly been very consistent this year, and they can rely on him to come off the bench. The Celtics bench in general isn't great, so that's why Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser have been really good this year, and they have been reliable. I hope they can carry it on in the playoffs, because that starting five is probably going to play most of the game. So as soon as these two come in and the starting five needs a breather, they need to be able to deliver. And I honestly think Sam Hauser will, especially with his three-point shooting. Next up, we got the Bucks, the second seed right now. And obviously, they have a lot of good players. They don't have many like good bench players, so I have to include a starter, Malik Beasley. He's been really good this year, which is like kind of crazy because obviously once he steps away from the Lakers, then he starts playing great. He averages 3 threes per game. Sorry. He averaged 3 threes a game on 43%. Like,
yeah, that's exactly what the Lakers needed him to do. But as soon as some players got in the Lakers, they just forgot how to shoot, and Malik Beasley is one of them.
I think most players.
Yeah, most players for sure. But he's been really good on the Bucks, and you know, he's that prototype 3-and-D player that every team needs. So I don't know if his defense is as good anymore because he's like old, but he can definitely still shoot.
He's been solid. Hasn't been amazing, but he's been solid. And the thing is, it really does need to be studied, like Mev said, how players just play a lot better when they're not on the Lakers. Just like role players we're talking about. And that's because, honestly, my thing is there's too much pressure on the Lakers playing with LeBron James. And it's not even that, just like the fans, it's a really toxic fan base. And you could just tell how people play. Like, it wasn't just, it's D'Lo too, it's Malik Beasley last year. It's, a lot of players were getting death threats from what I remember because of fans. Fans are kind of crazy. Lakers fans are like one of the worst. Not all of them, you can't judge all of them, but like a lot of them are crazy and they can't differentiate between what's real and what's not. At the end of the day, like, basketball is it's a game, and like threatening players and just like being toxic over that is kind of crazy. Like, me and Julius Randle have had a love-hate relationship, but I've never like given him a death threat or a threat in general.
Yeah, because you can't say that
because I'm normal.
I think there's negative fans for any team.
I miss Julius Randle though.
It's not
but
just the
no,
Lakers.
It's mostly the Lakers. You can't even lie. Lakers and Celtics. That's just facts. Anyways, Malik Beasley has been balling out. Let's see if he can carry on to the playoffs. I have a feeling that it won't. Cleveland Cavs. Jarrett Allen.
Bro, he's having one of the best seasons of his career, if not the best.
And the Cavs in general have been having so many injuries this season, and he's the biggest reason why they've been able to stay afloat. And they're the third seed right now, which is really impressive despite all the injuries. And he's been their most consistent player just because, in general, games played as well. And his defense, rebounding, even his scoring has been really good this year. Just overall, I think he's been a very good player. Could have even been an all-star this season if we're being honest. And there's also a stat I have here. He's one of 4 players in the NBA with 16 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, and 1 blocks per game, which is really impressive. And if the Cavs can stay healthy, I think they could really get to the second round this year finally. But not if they match up against like probably the Knicks, which probably won't happen. I think they're probably gonna end up playing the Pacers in the first round or the Heat. So I think they could really make it out of the first round finally this year.
Honestly, I don't think they can beat the Heat, but I think Pacers are beatable. So we'll just have to see. But you know,
Pacers with the hobbled Halliburton for sure, but not like. Halliburton was injured, I really do, like, if he's 100% healthy come playoff time, I really do think the Pacers are a dark horse in the playoffs this year, just because I really do like Pascal Siakam, his addition to the team, and overall the Pacers, they were balling out this year when Tyrese was healthy. Like the things that he was doing when he was healthy was crazy. People were saying he's like the best point guard in the league. People were overreacting, but at the same time, he was averaging like nearly 13 assists per game, while also averaging like an efficient 20 points per game and getting everyone in his team involved. So I think the Pacers, if they could honestly be a dark horse if they're healthy come playoff time. But honestly, the Cavs should have an upper hand if they end up playing them in the first round. Next up, we got my team, the New York Knicks. I feel like the most underrated player on the Knicks is Miles McBride. If you've been keeping up with Knicks games, you know that he is a definition of the next up guy. Like he's always ready to play, and whenever he gets in, he will provide impact, especially on both ends.
Yeah, I feel like the Knicks need this type of guy in the team. Someone will come off the bench, score when he needs to, defend. So yeah, I think it's a positive for the Knicks to have somebody off the bench like this.
Yeah, and he's been so good in his increased role, and he's proving why he should always have these minutes. And the Knicks are stacked, they are. But the way he's been playing, he could honestly get his time, like more and more time. Because Tibbs does really respect it, and he's been starting too with all the injuries, and he's been so good, especially on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's been amazing, honestly, for his role. Next up, we got the Orlando Magic. I was really debating between Mo Wagner and Jalen Suggs because both of them don't really get enough praise. And I think Mo Wagner is like really good off the bench, and he provides like a lot of energy, and he can go on like scoring runs sometimes. Like he can help in like the scoring runs for them.
Yeah, and I think Mo Wagner averages has the most charges drawn out of anyone this year.
Yeah, it was really hard between Mo Wagner and Jalen Suggs. But Jalen Suggs, in my opinion, has just been really good. Like, especially his defense took a huge jump from last season, and he could honestly be in contention for an All-NBA defense spot this year. So that's why I had to put him as the number one underrated, because people don't really talk about him. They mainly talk about Banchero and Franz Wagner. So that's why I feel like Jalen Suggs can be so good in the future. Like, he really will, not defensive player of the year level, but like he will be one of the best defenders in the league one day.
To like a championship team too, or like a contending team for sure.
Yeah, he just plays his role so well, and he just fits so well with Banchero, and honestly, he could probably fit in any team in the league. That's how good I feel like he can be.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we got the most underrated player on the Pacers, in my opinion, is TJ McConnell, sorry. He's been on the Pacers for quite a while, and the thing is, I feel like he provides so much energy for them. And he's honestly a really smart player. Like, he's always in his right spots, making the right plays always, never forcing anything, always making, like, the right pass. So that's why I feel like he is a great spark for them, off the bench mainly.
Yeah, definitely. He can torch any team whenever he feels like it. And like you said, he's great off the bench. So, yeah.
He's not
really underrated.
He's not by any means
at all.
Yeah, he's not by any means a stat stuffer. Like, he won't have the most amazing stats, but his impact goes far beyond stats. Like, most teams need a player like TJ McConnell off their bench because he's always so energetic and just moving the team towards the right direction whenever they're playing. Next up, we got Duncan Robinson from the Heat. I feel like he's the most underrated player on the Heat because a lot of people thought he was done.
He was literally getting paid $90 million and getting DMPs in the playoffs a couple years ago. And then to see that he's back to why he even got the contract in the first place, it's just like
exactly. He's shooting 40% from 3 this year, and he definitely did take a jump from last season and the couple seasons before that. Ever since he got his contract, and he's the second in most games played this year for the Heat, and he's been there, he's been present, and he's been consistent. So that's why I feel like we have to include him for the most underrated player on the Heat. The 76ers' most underrated player, in my opinion, is Kelly Oubre, and the fact that this man got hit by a car this year. And he came back like it was nothing. Like, he had a great game yesterday. Dropped like over 30 points and was so amazing throughout the game. This man got signed on a vet minimum.
I still can't believe they stole him like that. He definitely had potential to sign a way bigger contract, but like nobody wanted him, I guess. But he's really showing why he deserves a lot more money. So
yeah, and the thing is, I see him as such a skilled scorer. Like, I feel like he is a skilled scorer, and he can also put up his own on the defensive side, and I really feel like he's capable of taking over a game, like any game he wants.
He definitely can. We've all seen him do it.
And I
Times,
I think he will do it like more. Like he's not slouch. He's not just that 6-man like, or just not even 6-man. He's not just that guy that's gonna like be a role player. I feel like he will have star moments, and we've seen it a couple of times, especially even after getting hit by a car. This man is a really good player, and the fact that the Sixers got him on a vet minimum is insane. Like, they really did get a huge steal with Kelly Oubre. Next up, we got Bulls' most underrated player is Ayo Dosunmu.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He just keeps getting better and better every year. He's amazing at defense. He can score easily in transition. He is just the player that any team needs because he brings it every single night. He acts like it's his last game ever. And I even think that he can be in contention for most improved player because the past like
maybe one day,
no. The past like 10 games
now
after Kobe, that it's going to be Ayo, I think, because you have these players who don't deserve most improved player, in my opinion. Like, what's his name?
Tyrese
Maxey does not deserve most improved player. I don't care. Players like Kobe, Ayo, those are the types of players that
Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
Jonathan Kuminga.
Exactly. Those are the types of players I think that have to prove himself, come from literally averaging no minutes to being an important part of the team. So I think Ayo is, wow, he's just so good. And if you see him, watch him play, you'd understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, honestly, I love players like him that are always hustling, especially when they run down the court. They're running like for their lives, like a zombie's chasing them. Like he is fast, and he puts so much effort in. I love those kinds of players. So I agree with Mev. Next up, the Hawks, Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson is also in contention for most improved player because he just got so much better all around. Like his shooting, his defense, his scoring took an 11-point jump, I believe.
Yeah, that is another player who I wouldn't be mad if they won most improved player. He looks like a vet out there. All of a sudden, he turned his whole game around. He's so good. Nobody talks about him.
And he's also so fun to watch too. Like if the Hawks can keep him and Trey together, I really do think they can be really good one day. Just because he's only getting better and better. Like he took an 11-point jump. Just think about how much better he'll get next season too. I don't know. I just feel like he's really underrated too. Next up, we got OKC. I feel like the most underrated player on OKC is Dort, just because even though he's not part of their big three, he started every game this season. He's been a vital part of OKC, just being the first seed this season.
Yeah, nobody really talks about him, but he's obviously a vital part of why OKC is even the first seed. He's amazing at defense. He's been good at defense his whole career. Not even just defense.
He's such the thing is, he's such a physical defensive player that a lot of players get like nervous playing against him. And he's also really good at drawing fouls, where Frank Vogel, the Suns coach, called him out on it, which was hilarious. Like he's really calling out Dort for drawing fouls when many players on his team do the same thing. But anyways, overall, I think Dort. I've always been a fan of Dort from when he got undrafted, because I thought he was gonna get drafted, and he didn't, and it got me really upset because I was a fan of him in college. So it's amazing because a lot of the times undrafted players don't make it in the NBA. They just don't. Overall, like a lot of second-round players don't even make it in the NBA, let alone undrafted players. So the fact that he's been able to be on OKC since the beginning of his career and just climb higher and higher has been so impressive. People are not talking about it. Even though I don't think he'll ever be an all-star one day, he'll always be like that role player that's in the NBA for such a long time. Like he's one of those guys. The Nuggets' most underrated player, I think everyone knows what I'm going to say, is Aaron Gordon. Ever since coming to the Nuggets, this man completely changed his play style, and it's resulted to winning for him and the Nuggets.
Yeah, when he was in the Magic, it just didn't work out. Like, he wasn't a first option. He just wasn't. And I think he really embraced his role on the Nuggets now. He's a way better player than he ever was, and he just gets better and better.
Yeah, like Mev said, he is a lot better player than he was on the Magic. His play on both ends got infinitely better, while his two-man game with Jokic is unstoppable. Like, this is It's honestly one of the most unstoppable two-man games in the NBA, alongside Jokic and Murray and a couple other people. Like, that's how crazy Jokic is. He can just be an amazing duo with anyone, and he can elevate anyone on his team. But you can't really give all the credit to Jokic because I feel like Aaron Gordon has always been a great player. He just needed a change of scenery and to establish the role he was meant to play from the beginning. Next up, we got the Wolves' most underrated player is Naz Reid. I think everyone would agree with me because Naz Reid is literally one of the best role players in the league. You can argue he's literally tier A for role players right now.
Agreed. I feel like on any other team, like a lottery team, Naz Reid would be like the best player on that team, or looking like an all-star on that team.
And he's been great all season, not even just now stepping up for Cat ever since Cat got injured. He's been great all season.
He's basically another Cat. Not as good, but on that, like, low-key getting on that level, Naz Reid. Like, they're so similar.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever get to that level, but he could honestly end up being the best role player in the league sooner rather than later. Because I feel like he is, like I said, tier A role player. Like, he's honestly so good, and he's impacts the game so much more than normal non-stars. That's why I'm a big fan of him. New Jersey native. Anyways, next up, the Clippers' most underrated player, and I think honestly one of the most underrated players in the league in general, is Russell Westbrook. This man comes off the bench and he honestly impacts the game so much. The Clippers are 41-21 with him this season, and his defense honestly took such a big jump because he's honestly fitting in his new role very well. And a lot of people thought that Russell Westbrook was never gonna adapt. A lot of people were like nervous about his old play style and how he'll never change and stuff like that. But if you've been watching the Clippers this year, he completely changed his old mannerisms because he is not the player that he was, and he knows that now, and which is why he's been able to become so impactful for the Clippers this year.
Yeah, he off the bench, he's literally doing it all. He's not as explosive as he used to be, but he brings so much energy to the game. His rim pressure, he will do anything basically but shoot. But he's still a really good NBA player.
Yeah,
people
honestly,
would say that he's not NBA. He's not as good. He's not an NBA player anymore.
Honestly,
should retire. This that. No, he's still a good player. So
yeah, honestly, other than shooting, I think when he focuses on his rim pressure, passing, defense, and overall his energy, he is a really good. That's when he leaves the shooting aside because he can't shoot. We all know he can't shoot, but he is so good at other things. And when he capitalizes on those things and utilizes them, then we see such a very good Russell Westbrook in this day and age. And that's what he needs to keep doing because the Clippers need that side of Russell Westbrook if they want to go far. Because they do have the star power with PG, Kawhi, and even James Harden, but they need Russell Westbrook off the bench and his expertise. So honestly, I really do think that Russell Westbrook is such an important part of the Clippers, and I feel like they will go far this year. Mev, who is the most underrated player on the Dallas Mavericks?
I'm definitely gonna say former Bull Daniel Gafford.
I 100% agree. And that's because I always thought the Mavericks needed a lot of help center-wise because Maxi Kleber and Dwight Powell were never going to cut it. Daniel Gafford, they were really cooking trading for Daniel Gafford. I really believe that. And it's because he's such a force in the paint because of his size and ability to defend other bigger centers. Like, he really can do it all in those two regards.
Yeah, he's long himself, and he just, like, barely misses any shots. Like, he makes most of the shots he takes. I forgot what the number was, but he went on a field goal streak without even.
He was coming close to Wilt, which is insane.
Yeah. Crazy. And he's an amazing shot blocker
and rebounder.
Yeah, he just does what you need him to do on an elite level.
He's honestly what a traditional center should be and is. He really does remind me of Tyson Chandler, and I honestly think he will be that man for this Mavs team. And he'll be such an important and vital part for Mavs' future success because Luka and Kyrie are just a dream backcourt for a team to have, but you also need a center like Daniel Gafford. Obviously, you would prefer like a superstar center, but if you can have one like Daniel Gafford, that is key because he's such a consistent player and can do basically anything a traditional center could do. Honestly, the New Orleans Pelicans They have been proving people wrong this season. They're 45-29, 6th seed. They'll probably stick to the 6th seed. I don't think that they'll fall in the play-in because they've honestly been really good and winning a lot of games. And Herb Jones is honestly a big reason why. And I think he's the most underrated player on this team because even though he's not one of the top scorers, his defense is crazy. Like, he's honestly an amazing defender.
Yeah, he'll have the other team's best player in literal jail. He'll take on like the best assignment. So, yeah, he just like
and he's no slouch. He's no slouch offensively either. The fact that he can put up points on the board while also playing and exerting that much energy defensively is great.
He's an amazing 3-point shooter also. Yeah.
And the fact that obviously Zion and CJ and Brandon Ingram are going to do the scoring and facilitating and all of that. The fact that they can have someone there to rely on defensively is great, and which is why the Pelicans have been so good this year, and they're so fun to watch as well. And Herb Jones has been a great defender since his rookie year. Like, this man is always going to be a great defender. He really will. He's just gifted defensively. Now we're on to the Kings. We think the most underrated player on the Kings is Keegan Murray. He is one of the best young talents in the NBA. No one ever talks about him or includes him in these conversations.
Yeah, the way he's able to shoot threes is unreal, especially with his size. He is just like so good in that aspect. And not even just that, offensively, he's
averaging 15 points per game, which is a career high in his second year. And people forget that in his first year, his rookie season, he set a rookie record for most 3-pointers made. He's honestly could end up being one of the most, or he could honestly end up making some of the most threes in NBA history by the end of his career, if he's able to get there, like, longevity-wise.
Definitely. He played, like, if the Kings make the playoffs this year too, he's gonna go off also. He doesn't get that much media coverage at all.
A lot of the time he will not get the ball as much. Like, that's why a lot of the times he won't be scoring as much. But I really do think his usage should be upped, and he should be able to shoot a lot more. But obviously that's hard with Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. But Malik Monk got injured and he missed the game, and Keegan Murray went off. And that's because his role did get bigger, because obviously he is that fourth guy behind those three players I just mentioned. But his numbers are going to be a lot better since Malik Monk got injured. Like, he's going to get the ball a lot more. And everyone's going to see that he is a gifted scorer, especially shooter. He is a gifted shooter. And he's going to be so good one day. He is already good, but, like, he's going to be arguably probably the best shooter in the league one day, or almost. I honestly think we'll see that one day for sure. The most underrated player on the Suns, we think, honestly, it's Grayson Allen. And a lot of people don't like Grayson Allen because Mev does not like Grayson Allen. But honestly, we gotta give credit where it's due, and he is the best 3-point shooter in the NBA this season, percentage-wise. He's shooting 47% from 3 on nearly 3 makes, which is so impressive. And honestly, if he can keep this up for the playoffs, the Suns will be kind of dangerous, because they already have 3 great shooters, and now Grayson Allen is over here shooting nearly 50% from 3.
No,
that's crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, he's nice from 3. He almost beat Clay's record, and that would have made me mad. I'm not gonna lie. But the fact that he does this it's not like it was like a one-hit wonder. He does this every game. Like, he can make as many threes as he feels like. And the Suns need that. Like, they really need that in the playoffs. And
yeah, he's having the best season of his career, and I don't think that it'll stop once the playoffs come around. I do think that he will continue his streak through the playoffs and be such a big part of the Suns. And the West is stacked this year. Honestly, it's going to be crazy. But Grayson Allen really needs to keep this up if the Suns want any chance to go far, because 3-point shooting is so important nowadays, especially in the playoffs. Every team needs that three guy that will knock down that 3. And he is that guy for the Suns team. Mev, who is the most underrated player on the Lakers?
Definitely Rui Hachimura. Imagine if he had a bigger role, the numbers he would put up. He already does so much for the Lakers. What do you think?
Honestly, I say honestly too much, I'm sorry. But Rui Hachimura, The way he plays the game of basketball is honestly so mesmerizing, especially his mid-range. His mid-range is so beautiful and like calculated. Like it reminds me of a Kawhi Leonard mid-range shot. Like the way he shoots it, like he just measures every shot so beautifully, which is why he's able to be so efficient. He shoots 53% from the field and 42% from three.
Yeah, and people forget he was literally the third, fourth best player in the playoffs last year for the Lakers, and they made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. So he's a big part of the Lakers' success, and people just forget about this guy. They just forget about him.
And he honestly puts up so much. I said honestly again. I'm sorry. He puts up so much good numbers despite such a like not minimalized role, but not like the biggest role. And I honestly think that his role. Sorry, my honestly has kept confusing me. I think Ryo Hachimura could put up all-star numbers if his role was like increased, because he's such a talented player, and that's why he ended up being a lottery pick all those years ago. But ever since he got to the Lakers, that's when people started seeing how good he actually is, and putting up like 13-ish points per game with his usage so low, doesn't even take that many shots, 53% from the field. Like he could honestly put up such good numbers if he could shoot a couple times more a game. And his 3-point shooting he improved so much through everything since coming to the Lakers. Last but always least, the Golden State Warriors.
I feel like this guy, he's even the most improved player and the most underrated player on the Warriors, and that's Jonathan Kuminga. He was literally having DMPs in the playoffs last season and the year before that too. So the things he's able to do this year.
Yeah, he's definitely in the running for most improved player, and all his numbers took a huge jump. His role, Steve Kerr finally gave him a bigger role that he's been wanting since he got into the league, and he's proving that he deserved all those extra minutes that he's been getting. He's averaging like 16 points per game, good efficiency, and he's been the Warriors' second option this year. And the Warriors are still, keep in mind, they're still fighting for a playoff spot. Yeah, so that's honestly who I'd say is the most underrated player on the Warriors. They honestly have some. What? Oh, honestly, that's my favorite word. I don't know why. The Warriors have some good young talents like Brandon. I don't know how to say his last name. Podziemski, I think. Brandon Podziemski, Tracy Jackson Jr., Jonathan Kuminga. But honestly, their future is not great. When the Warriors lose Steph, Draymond, and Clay, they honestly don't have a future. Which is why their title window is closing every single day that passes.
They already closed. They have no chance. They might not even make the playoffs. They literally don't have a chance to make.
That's why you can see the frustration on Steph Curry's face, because he knows himself that the Warriors' title window is done. He's never going to win another championship unless he leaves the Warriors, but that's not happening. He knows Draymond. Like, Draymond got ejected the other day. Curry had some tears because he knows that he's being held back by the ghosts of Dre and Clay, the A's. Because they're not good anymore. They're hanging on by a thread. They will be out of league soon. But the Warriors are still not doing anything about it. They could have traded Clay. They could have traded Draymond to get more help around Curry. Because Curry also won't be good for much longer. Like, he's 36 years old. He doesn't have that much time left as well. Which is why I think that Steph Curry and LeBron James need a team up. Enough is enough. The Lakers are failing LeBron. The Warriors are failing Curry. They need a team up so they can each get their 5th ring, and then they can call it quits and retire.
I just took a
Then
turn
I woke
for
up.
like.
Then I woke up.
No, I think. Imagine LeBron goes to the Warriors.
Honestly, I think Draymond is one ejection away from Curry requesting a trade. Just kidding, I doubt. Curry is such a loyal player, but at the same time, like, loyalty can only get you so far.
I just think Draymond Green's brain needs to be donated to science.
That therapy did nothing for Draymond Green, if we're being honest. It really didn't. Well, comment down below if we missed some players who are clearly underrated and we left them off the underrated list because that's how underrated they are. Comment down below if we forgot anyone, and if you agree with if we put any terrible players on the list. Honestly, I think every player we included is so good and they're underrated for a reason. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to all of our channels. Ask Splash Sisters P. Have a great day, y'all.